Hello, fellow muddlers, Bruce here. I am going to continue working on this Varney 460, and since I have two pretty much identical Varney 460s, and to cut down on the confusion as to which one I'm working on, this one by a previous owner had been decaled for the Atchison, Topeka, and Santa Fe. I think you might be able to see those letters there. So we'll just call this the Santa Fe Varney 460. And I'm continuing to find out what's wrong with it. We did get the motor running, if you recall. And near the end of that video, where I got the motor running after cleaning the commutator, one of the brushes flipped off, and I said, I guess I didn't have the spring on all the way. It turns out that's not the case. It's a little more serious than that, and I'm trying to figure out the best way to attack it. And to do that, I want this motor in my hands, and in particular, this platform that holds the two brushes in place. I want to have full access to that, so I want to get rid of this feed wire that was feeding one of the brushes. And the person who soldered that, and this is very typical, let the solder run, kind of wild, and it not only is holding the wire in place, it's now holding the brush in place so I can't remove it. So normally when you've seen me desolder a wire, I just heat up my soldering iron, touch it, pull the wire off. But here, I want to totally remove, to the best of my ability, all the solder around there so that it's no longer holding the brush in place. And the best way to do that is with solder wick. And this is just one brand, and you look at that one, you can get that one on Amazon. But they're all kind of braided. I think they're made out of copper. And they will suck the solder right into it. At least that's the theory. I have no idea whether, I have a pretty good idea that this solder is so old that it definitely is lead-based. And again, not knowing how old it is, I'm going to take a little bit of rosin paste, flux, and I'm just going to smear it onto the surface there, and maybe a little bit on the end of the wick as well. So I think that my soldering iron is warm enough now. Now because this is copper based and it's going to conduct the heat very well, so I leave it right in this container, and so that I don't get my fingers burned. Put that on top of the solder that I'm trying to remove, and put the soldering iron on top of the wick. Okay, the wire came off, but there's just a little bit of copper, not much, a little bit of copper left on there, which I need to get off, or else I will not be able to get that spring off of the brushes here. So I'm going to come in, and I think that's got it. Let me just see whether I can get that spring off of there. Yeah, spring is loose. I can take that apart, as you can see, and the brush is loose. So totally remove the solder from that. So this is really good stuff, and you should have it in your arsenal if you're going to do any electrical soldering. And it's inexpensive enough. I'll just cut that little piece off at the end and I've used up, a quarter of an inch of it. All right, I'm going to continue now taking a look at this motor until I can get to the point where I can explain to you what in the world is going on with it. And then we'll see some options for fixing it. In the meantime, now that this is desoldered, I can pull this unit out of here. And you see that it is just a light bulb unit that looks like something that Rube Goldberg did. And that was stuffed down in there and providing a front lamp. And the insulation is well off of most of that. I don't know whether this works or not. I'll give it a, well, let's see if I can give it a test right now. Let me plug my power supply back in. Unplug the soldering iron. I did manage to touch the back of one finger with the soldering iron, giving myself a burn. And I'm going to, as soon as I'm done filming, go upstairs and put our go-to fix on burns, which is kukui nut oil. You can get kukui nut. We first got it in when we visited Hawaii. There you go. Bulb works. Okay. Whether I use it again or not, we will see. Might have a better replacement for it. But yeah, going to go upstairs and rub some kukui nut oil on the burn, and I'll talk to you again soon. Okay, continuing on. By the way, this is about 20 minutes later. Absolutely no pain whatsoever in the burn on the finger. All you can see is a discoloration in the skin. Kukui nut oil, I'll put the name up there. Terrific on burns. One thing I can swear by is it takes the pain away. My wife believes, and I can't argue with her about it because I believe she's right, it aids in the healing as well. Alrighty, now, what did I discover the other day when that brush fell off the motor? On the top of a Varney motor, and for that matter on the top of the Tyco Mantua motors, screwed in place, is a, in this case, rectangular piece of non-conductive material that is supposed to look like that, with two slots in it, screw hole in the middle here, two slots that the brushes slide up into, and then the springs that are in place up here, you can see if I get it into the picture, these springs flip behind those and hold them in place. I think you can see in this picture, let's see if this helps. On this side, you can see the slot in place. And on this side, you can see that the slot is broken. There's no outer barrier to form the little slot. Now, I didn't notice that when I first took the motor out because a previous owner had taken this piece of metal and had fashioned a way to complete this little rectangle over here so that the brush would stay in place. This piece is really a sandwich. Here's a screw. It's holding a square piece here on top of this rectangular piece and is sandwiching them together. And he managed to squeeze somehow this in place to somewhat like that to form the rectangle. So, I've been thinking about what to do with that. And the options are obviously, I can take this apart to get this in my hands, try to do the same thing as he did with this piece of metal, only maybe instead of relying just on sandwiching, I could solder that in place. and then get the brushes back on. Or get a replacement motor completely, put this one aside and maybe to work on later or take parts from. Or just grab this top piece from another motor, and I'll tell you the truth, I think even the top piece off of a Tyco Mantua would work. So yeah, fix the motor either by trying to fix this top piece as old Mr. Rube Goldberg did years ago with this piece of whatever that is, and or replace this top piece here that's holding the brushes in place, or get an entire new motor. All right, those are the options. So for the moment, putting this motor aside, putting its brushes aside, putting this piece aside, and I'm going to continue on disassembling, cleaning, and putting back together everything except for the motor. Probably do a complete rewire. What else did I find? One of the crosshead guides is missing from the cylinders. You can see there's two on this side, one on that side. I can look through some bar stock I have to see if I can fashion one, or I have some parts locos and see whether one of those would fit. Got to fix that. I think I'll tackle this underframe next with the 6 drive wheels here and the front bogie, and clean that all up, lubricate it, get that ready for reuse. The tender, the wheels are just horrible, so I'll clean those up, clean the whole thing up, probably strip it down. The ladder on the back needs a bit of fixing, and work on that. On the locomotive itself, strip it down, and one of these front, I guess that's supposed to be a light, that nubbins there, is missing from this side. So again, I either have to find a replacement, and they are just pins that go in there, so I very well might be able to find that from a donor and then repaint that. So work to be done, but I thought I'd bring you up to date on what I found with that motor, which was a bit of a setback. Alrighty, but it's not a death knell. First of all, I think this Varney motor would fit. I think the holes are in the right place to screw it in. However, this came from a little 040 tank engine. I don't know whether it is anywhere as near as powerful as the other one. It is a 5-pole motor, so that's an option. But for those of you who follow along, I'll show you another option that should be coming in the mail shortly. All right, talk to you again soon. Okay, getting to what I'm going to do about the motor that we found in this Varney 460 Santa Fe version. And if you recall, there was a problem with the unit on the top of the motor that keeps the brushes in place. I think it's fixable, but I decided to go online and just see what was available in that vintage Varney motors. And what I found, for I think it was about $17, was this parts donator. A Varney old lady, and no tender. And the owner said, had been purchased originally with the idea of fixing up the problems that it has with the side rods and get it working again. Well, I hate doing this to the grand old lady, but there she is. Excuse me. And I can't get sentimental about this one. It's got to be a parts donator. Now, that might leave me enough that I can at some point tackle repairing this. But I have two Varneys that need a little help right now. One is my old lady, which cosmetically is in better shape. And it has one problem with one side rod that has come loose. And so I need to fix that. And I need a motor. So, yeah, what I'm going to do is take the motor out of here for now. And I just want to look, this side rod is also loose. I think it's, in all cases, the rivets, and these were mostly made from kit, the rivets that the people put in have come out. And interestingly enough, both on the same side. So yeah, I am going to take this apart right now. There's a few other parts on here that might end up donating. The running lights on the front up here. My old lady's missing one. This Varney that I'm working on has one but not the other. So yeah, it's going to become a parts donator. So I'm going to start by first taking the motor out and seeing what shape it's in and see if that's worth fixing. So I'll see you when I have this apart. Talk to you then. Alrighty. Got three Varney motors laying here. The one in the middle is the one that was on this unit that has this broken area here that I think you can probably see. So I can't keep the brushes held in place unless I do some surgery on that motor. This motor was the one that was in that box of broken trains that's followed me along forever and came out of a little tank engine. I think you can see that the problem that one has is that the shaft is longer and therefore does not line up with the drive gear on the frame, so that's of no use to me. And this is the one that just came out of that old lady that I bought for parts. Took me quite a while getting this motor running because it had multiple issues. Part of the problem was dirty commutator and carbon buildup between the faces of the commutator. And other problems on it, and then it still wasn't running, so I kept looking, was that the area inside the brush holder here and this spring that holds it in place, both of them were so corroded that electrical contact wasn't being made. So I had to do some filing and sanding and cleaning it up, and I think I now have it running fairly reliably. That's one direction. And there's the other direction. So yeah, now we got a running motor, so I was all excited. Then I went to the underframe here of the locomotive and realized that this motor, this width of the face of the motor, is wider than what the other one was and will not fit, let's get it right side up, will not fit down here in the slot that was designed for it. So this one will be of no use to me either. So that makes me look at that old lady a little bit differently, because this motor can go back into it. And we'll see, maybe that'll become a candidate for refurbishing as well. But in the meantime, I don't have a motor from Plan A or Plan B there. So I think I'm going to have to go back and try to do some surgery up here on the top of this motor to get it so it'll hold the brush in place, and try to make it a little more stable than what the previous owner had. And then I can proceed with the project. But I think for now, this video got pretty long. What I will do is finish this up now so I can post it. I will continue cleaning all the paint off of the castings so I can repaint it. And I will go ahead with the repainting. And in the meantime, I'll start working on the surgery on this, which I will film, and then I can do one final video on this Santa Fe Varney, and hopefully show it all together with new paint and with this motor running. I will continue also to look online for Varney motors at a reasonable price and see. I did try to put a Tyco Mantua motor there, one of their typical ones, but it also would not fit. So that's where we stand. Sometimes things are not linear, and we need to take a few side trips. So that's what we have here. So as always, if you enjoyed the video, hey, please give it a thumbs up. And if you have not already done so, and you want to make sure that you see my videos as they come out, then please subscribe to the channel. Talk to you again soon.